once we've got that closed, we're going to turn it back out the correct way. All right, I've trimmed my seams, and now we're going to turn it back out. All right, and let's get our zipper installed. All right. Okay, once you have that on, you want to grab one of your main lining pieces, and you want to place this 5/8 inch up from the bottom. Now, I have done Rosa's patterns, and for this pocket, I personally prefer it to be a little bit higher up, so I am going to put it about right, I think about right here. It's going to make me happy. So I'm going to place my pocket one and a half inch up. I think that should work. All right, I'm going to place mine 1 1/4 inch up. I just like my pocket to be a little bit higher inside of my bag, that's all. All right. Once I have that situated, I am just going to make sure that it's on straight. Clamp the sides. And I'm going to go and get that basted on at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, and we're going to go and get this attached by sewing down the side, across the bottom, and back up. We're doing that at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, once that's done, let's grab our lining side pieces, okay? And you want to place them so that they are right sides touching each other. Get them clamped together. I'm going to get them attached at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. If it's not the exact same height, it's fine. Just center it. Okay, once you have that attached, we're going to just press it out and then go and do a top stitch, 1/8 inch seam allowance. It's going to be on top of that side piece, okay? All right, once you have that done, go ahead and burn the zipper so that it doesn't fray. Now we can set this to the side. Let's grab our slip pocket and fold it so that it's right sides touching. And then we're going to head over to the machine and we're going to sew that together at 3/8 of an inch seam. Trim your seam allowance down. Flip it right side out. And press it so that the seam is behind the pocket. So not on the bottom, but just behind it. You know, maybe up about the length of your seam allowance. on the back side. And then fold it at the top. All right, and I'm going to fold the bottom. So I can get my crease at the top. And now we're going to go and get that top stitched at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now grab your other main lining piece. And we're going to get this attached. You can do it at 5/8 of an inch seam allowance like before. I am going to be doing mine at 1 1/4 again. It just depends on how high you want your pocket to be. All right, and now we're going to sew around the side, the bottom, and up the other side. Okay, now we are going to grab our 2 side pieces, just like before. Place them right sides touching, and we're going to get them attached at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, once we have it attached, just like before, we're going to press it out and do a top stitch of 1/8 seam allowance along the side piece. Once you've got that top stitching done, you can flip it over and go ahead and trim down your seam allowances to 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we can go ahead and grab our 2 lining pieces and our main panels. And we're going to be lining up, matching up our lining with our exterior. I like for my zipper pocket to be against my body, so I'm going to be adding this one to my back piece. And I'm going to be adding this one, slip pocket, to the front piece. She said if you would like to do an internal label, then, you know, this is a great opportunity to put that there. Now, when you get this added on to your exterior panel, make sure that your slip pocket is facing up. You don't want to do this. You'll be pissed. So make sure your slip pocket is facing up with your main panel. Same thing for this side, okay? It's a silly mistake, but I promise you I'd make it. I'm going to go ahead and find my midpoint really quick. I'm also going to trim down my seam allowance on my phone pocket backing. Trim off that lining piece right there. Alright, my midpoints are already marked on here. On the bottom anyway. Let me do the top. Okay, so we're lining up those midpoints. She said if your lining is slightly bigger than your exterior, then don't worry about it. It's fine. We're going to trim it down later. So with that being said, I'm going to match up at the top. That way, if I need to do any trimming, it'll be along the bottom. So I'm going to just kind of center it as far as the overlap. And then when I baste it together, I'll be using my exterior as a guide. And then I'll just trim off whatever's left over. Once you've got it clipped all the way around, go ahead and get that basted on at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure that you're using your exterior panel as your guide to base, not your lining, okay? This is the shape that we're concerned with and we want to keep, and we can trim that lining away later. All right, once you've got it attached, go ahead and use your exterior piece as the guide to trim off any lining that is overlapping. All right. Now let's work on our zippered gusset. Okay, so let's get our zipper done. Go ahead and get your 2 zipper pulls installed so that they meet in the middle. And this is on our 16-inch zipper. Now we're going to grab our zipper tabs. We have an exterior and we have a lining. You want your lining to be right side facing up. Your zipper to be right side facing up. And your exterior tab to be right side facing down. Get that pinned together, and then we're going to go and sew these at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to just trim the seam allowance of the exterior tab only. Okay. Now fold these 2 back, finger press it, try to keep it as straight as possible. And now we're going to go and add a top stitch right over this tab at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, once you get that done, go ahead and repeat it to the other side. Okay, grab your zipper panels, the exteriors, and the lining. Okay, once we've got these pieces ready, you're going to be basting one side first. I'm actually going to be using double-sided tape just to save myself a step. So whichever you prefer, I'm going to go ahead and get this tape put on. I did decide that I wanted to increase the width of my bag by 1 inch. So all I did was I added 1/2 of an inch to my zipper panel pieces, and then I added 1 inch to my gusset. And all I did was when I went to trace my gusset, I traced one side all the way up to this point on the pattern piece, and then I just shifted it over. I got a ruler and shifted it over 1 inch, and then traced the outline of the other side, okay? I'm going to remove my backing. My lining, my zipper exterior is right side facing up. I'm going to place my zipper right side facing down. Okay, now I'm going to grab my lining and I'm going to place it right side facing down, right on top of that. I'm going to get them clamped together. All right, and I'm going to go and get this sewn on at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, let's finger press that out. And now we're going to go and add a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance right on this the exterior of the zipper. And once I get that done, I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. I'm going to place my exterior right side facing up. I'm going to place my zipper right side facing down, lining right side facing down, and do the same process. I didn't stabilize my connector. I just interfaced it, but if you did stabilize it, go ahead and make a mark on the end that the end that does not have the stabilizer so that you'll be able to recognize that end later. Okay, so your zipper panel is right side facing up. The end that you marked earlier, that's the end that you're going to be placing, aligning with the side, and you want your connectors to be wrong side facing up. Now when you get that attached, make sure that you're keeping this even. It should be aligned with that zipper, okay? Now we're going to go and base that on at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so if you want to get feet added to your gusset, you can go ahead and do that now. What you want to do is, remember that stabilizer piece we put on the bottom? You want to measure in 2 inches from the side, on both sides, and measure in 1 1/4 inch from the top and the bottom. And at that point, go ahead and make a mark and get your feet installed. Now let's get this attached. All right, once you've got your exterior gusset prepped and ready to go, we're going to place it so it's right side facing up. My zipper panel, I put some double-sided tape on the edge. And now we're going to just lay it. So our exterior gusset is right side facing up. Our zipper panel is right side facing down. And we're going to just center this. Now you're going to notice that the zipper panel is slightly shorter than the gusset, and that's okay. It's supposed to be like that. Okay. Now once we have that on, we're going to grab our gusset lining and we're going to place it right side facing down, so the correct side of both of your linings are touching each other. We're going to go ahead and line that up and get it pinned together. And let's sew this at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to trim down the corners up to the middle. So we're trimming that corner at 1/8 of an inch and just kind of going at an angle because we don't want to cut the zipper, right? And then we're going to go back and trim all of the exterior pieces. All right, now let's repeat the same thing to the other side. Our exterior gusset is right side facing up. Our zipper piece is going to go right side facing down and centered. Okay, now we're going to just place our lining right side facing down right on top. And we're going to go and sew this on at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, I trimmed this down just like the other one. Now we're going to turn it right side facing out. And let's press our let's press our gusset away from the zipper. And we're going to top stitch right along there at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, okay? And I'm going to do that to both sides. We're just pushing both pieces of the gusset, the lining and the exterior, away from this part, smoothing it out, and adding a top stitch. Now while I'm over there, I'm going to go ahead and baste around this entire piece, okay? All along the zipper side and also the gusset on both sides. for this next part, go ahead and grab your strap detail pieces. You want to take them and fold them in half. Make a mark and then punch a hole at that mark. Now let's get our gusset. Grab your connector. I'm going to be using this today. I do have this available on my website. It's an oversized 1-inch D-ring. I think it's going to be fantastic. So this is facing down. Place that on, and then you want to fold that at about 7/8 of an inch. And now you want to make a mark so that you can place a rivet hole right through there. And it's going to be going through your connector and also that zipper tab that's right there. Okay, it's going through all of that material. I'm just going to kind of estimate about right there. Let's go ahead and get a rivet put in there. My material is really thick, so I'm using 10 by 10 rivets. All right. Now you want to measure down about 1/4 inch from the bottom of this and make a mark. That's where we're going to be adding another rivet. Now, right now, you should put a hole through only this connector piece, okay? You should poke your hole through there and then place it on top of this and make a mark through that hole on your exterior piece, and then place your hole, make a hole in just your exterior gusset, not the lining. You should not include the lining on that next step. But I'm not gonna lie, I did the other side first to just get a feel for it, and I accidentally poked it through the whole thing. So just to be consistent, I'm gonna poke it through the whole thing. Okay, now once you have that that hole, grab your strap detail. I poked a hole in it already at the mark. I will say that I went and burnt around the hole because I'm using webbing. You should be using whatever you're using. But because I'm using webbing, I did make a point to burn around those ends. I just burned the hole. And now I'm going to place this rivet right through that and through here. Now, everything that you just did, go ahead and repeat it to the other side. When you go to set your rivet, make sure that your strap detail is straight. You don't want to set it and it's kind of like this. Make sure that it is straight. Mine is covering up some of this because I'm using my 1.5 inch webbing, so yours won't look like that. Yours would be more like that. But I wanted to use this webbing. So get everything lined up. Repeat this to the other side and get everything, all of your rivets set. Just a quick note, when I did this connector, I did not add stabilizer to it. So what I'm going to do now, so I just cut a little piece of Pelon Peltex, and I'm just going to place it between my connector and that gusset piece. My gusset has stabilizer on it already, so honestly, it's probably fine, but I don't know. And now I am going to put this through all of these layers. Once you've got your rivet set, just move your strap detail out of the way and go and baste around your entire gusset to get it closed up, okay? Then use your line up your gusset at the seam so that you can find the midpoint at the bottom and the top. Also, go ahead and make sure that your main panels are marked for the center, the top and the bottom. And now we're going to get them joined together. Place your zipper panel so that it is wrong side facing out. Your main panel is right side facing up. Grab the top center point and match it up with the top center of your panel and clip it. Now find the bottom, midpoint, and again, the exterior of your gusset is touching the exterior of your main panel. Let's pin it together. And now we're going to pin the whole thing together. What I like to do is pin my sides first, from here to here, on the top and the bottom. And then I'll start pinning on my side from the center. And that way I can make adjustments around the curves if I need to. Now when you get to doing this part right here that goes in, it's fine. Just simply taper it out to reach the edge. I hope that makes sense. Just kind of taper it out. All right, let's get this connected. When you go to connect this, make sure that you are tucking that handle inside, okay? Inside and out of the way. Then you can continue. Okay, so I did go ahead and staple around my curves to make it a little bit easier to get this attached. All right, now we're gonna go and get this sewn together at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I'm gonna be doing it with my gusset facing up. It does seem to be a little bit easier to do it that way. Once you've got that closed up, go ahead and turn your back so that it's right side facing out. And make sure that you don't have any seams showing along where you got all of that added together. If you do, make a mark on the inside so you can go back and make adjustments to fix that. If you look closely, you can see here that this is a little uneven. Do you see how the distance from right here and right here is off? But when I went back and looked inside, my material had started to slip a little bit, and that is what's causing that diagonal. So I'm gonna rip these seams at the very top and go back and adjust that and get that straight. Okay, once you are sure that everything is good, there aren't any seams showing, go ahead and get your staples taken out. I found the easiest way for me to do that is to use my needle nose pliers. It grabs them pretty quickly. Also, go ahead and get your bias tape ready. You should have it cut to about 45 inches. Now, I don't like bias tape. I don't like the process. So if you want to do it correctly, follow the instructions. I'm actually going to trim this down a little bit because I just need to. This is just me doing it. So you're not supposed to trim it down. Do you. I have to trim mine down because my materials are so thick. If I don't, my bias tape will not fit around it. That's just what it is. Grab your bias tape. I'm going to be starting at the bottom. Now what you're supposed to do is the first go around, you take your bias tape and you open it up like that, and you attach your bias tape to, you line it up with the bottom of your fabric, and then you sew all the way around. And then once you do that, you're supposed to come back and now fold that over like that, and then do your second seam. That's how you do your second seam. That's how you're going to get a great bias tape coverage. I'm too lazy to do that, so what I'm going to do, I'm sorry y'all, my camera died, but basically all I did for my bias tape, if you want to do it correctly, follow her instructions. All I did was take it and open it up and fold it over my edges and pin it really, really good, and then attach it all the way around at 1/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to go and do the exact same thing to the other side. We're going to do the whole procedure. Attach the panel, matching up the midpoints, then going back and adding the bias tape, okay? All right, once everything's good to go, gently turn your bag out. All right, y'all, we're almost done. So our strap detail, you want to grab a 3-inch piece of double-sided tape and place it along the edge of it. Now, we're going to be folding this back on itself. What I did was, you see the connector right there? I just folded mine right to that connector and tucked it right against it, and that felt really good to me. So that's what I'm going to do. Fold it in to that connector, tuck it snugly, making sure that the top of this part that I bent towards the back is aligned with the top of the front. Squeeze it together and work my way back, squeezing it together and keeping it in line. Okay, once it's done, I'm going to just squeeze it together, that double-sided tape. All right. Now what you want to do is, once you have that bent over this new edge, you want to measure in 1/4 of an inch and make a mark and make a rivet hole. Now because I'm using 1.5 inch webbing, I am going to be making 2 holes. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this in. But actually first, I'm going to be adding a strap in, because you know I'm extra. I'm going to flatten it out with this tool. This is what I use to flatten all my seams. I have a link down below. You can get it off of Amazon. Okay, and I am going to be getting a strap-in piece put on right here really quick. Okay, so you make your hole 1/4 of an inch in. I've made mine a little further in because of my end piece, and I've made 2. Now go ahead and get those holes poked out. I do want to note, whenever I poke a hole in my webbing, I do follow up with burning it just a little bit, because I don't want it unraveling. Okay, now once you've got that done, what you want to do is place this on your panel, making sure that you keep everything lined up straight. And then you're going to make a mark going through that hole that you just made onto your front pocket. And then you're going to make a hole for your rivets through here, and you're only putting that hole through this front pocket. Don't go through your main panel, okay? You're only putting this hole through this front pocket, the lining and the exterior both. Grab your rivets and simply put them through your detail piece and then through your front piece. And you're good. Once you have that done, go ahead and repeat that to all 4 of your corners. Okay, the last thing we want to do is on our handles, right where that stitch from the top part goes down and crosses over, right in that middle section, we're going to add a rivet. So you're just going to put it right above that seam. So right here. Okay, and then you're going to poke a hole, and this hole is going to be going through everything, through the handle and through the main panel exterior and lining, and then get that set and do that at all 4 corners of that handle. If you're going to be making your strap the way that she does in the instructions, it's a traditional strap. If you're going to be making it 1 inch, go ahead and cut it 4 inches wide, and then you're going to bend it. Make a line down the center long way, bend those edges into the center, and bend it over again, and that's your strap. I'm going to be using webbing because it matches my my bag. And this webbing and hardware is available on my website. I'm going to go up and over that mid piece of my adjuster. Now on the back side, I'm going to fold that under one time because I don't want an exposed part of my webbing showing. So I'm going to fold it over and then fold it back over, so there's no exposed edge. And then I'm going to go and top stitch this to get this all connected really quick. Okay, so I've got that attached. Now the wrong side is facing up. I'm just going to run it all the way down to the end, making sure that I don't let it twist, and put a swivel hook over it. Run it back through, making sure that it doesn't twist. He's watching football. Run it up and over. This other side, run it through the swivel hook and under. Now I'm going to be putting a strap in on here, but the webbing is too thin when it's just one layer. So what I'm going to do is just fold this under like that, about 1/4 of an inch, not too much because I don't want it to peep out from when I put my end on it. So I'm bending it over about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to put a little top stitch. Now I've got that done. I'm going to fold it over. If you want, you can add some rivets right here and be done with it, or you can add a stitch. I'm going to do a quick stitch. Alright, and we're done. There is our adjustable strap. Okay. Now I am going to take the time to go around the entire bag and smooth the seams out. I don't know if I mentioned, but I have a link for this where I got it off of Amazon if you would like it. And then I'm also going to be letting this sit. These clamps are great when you have really thick material that you're trying to clamp. I got these off of Amazon as well. I will put a link. Well, all my videos, I have a link in the description box of everything that I use, so you can find it. But yeah, so just make sure you work those seams out really good so that it has a nice shape to it. And I love it. I really do like this bag. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Good job, Alexis. Alright, so I'm going to go and get some pictures done for you. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed making this bag. I love mine. Yes. Beautiful. Love it. Alright y'all, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me for this video today. You can find me on all of the social media platforms. And I'll also go ahead and add all of that stuff in my, I'll add a link to all of that stuff in the video description box as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.